What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the show where I go over the comic books coming out this Wednesday, give you an idea what they're all about, and whether there's something to talk to your comic book shop about. To start off with, we're going to go with independent books, and the lead-off title is Saga number 41. So Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples are putting together a really solid book, and the war continues on in this storyline. It's still not the best spot to jump onto. There's a lot of backstory to catch up on, but it's a really solid title, so have no problem starting off at the beginning. Another really solid title from Image is going to be 7 to Eternity, which issue number 4 drops this coming week by REMENDER and JEROME OPENA. So this is going to continue on with the storyline against the Mud King and, the King of Lies and things like that. They've captured him and they're taking him to the Witch so that way they can try and break the bond between him and all his subjects. Finally, from Image, we have AD After Death number 2, so that's a very uncommon kind of book, written by Scott Snyder with art by Jeff Lemire, and it's something that really kind of caught me off guard a little bit because it's really heavy on the prose and really light on the art. However, it's still a book that I'd highly recommend people checking out. Then we head over to Flash number 13, where it's going to be kind of a holiday special date night one-shot that's going to be featuring Flash and Iris, and if you saw the last issue, then you're definitely going to see why that is the case. We also have Teen Titans number 3, which is coming out. That's Damian Knows Best, and it's going to be the Demon's Fist starting to take on the Teen Titans before, and it's really the kind of the midpoint of this arc, so it's going to be a good spot to get a little bit more development on all the individual characters. Batgirl number 6 has Babs returning to Burnside in a brand new arc, and it looks like she has an unfortunate run-in with Poison Ivy. Be on the lookout for a Francis Manapul variant cover. It looks pretty stellar. I'm a real big fan of RAFAEL Albuquerque's art, but this one is just a touch better in my eyes. We also have Mother Panic number 2, which is coming out from Young Animal, and this is kind of an odd book, but it's definitely one that I'm going to stick around with for a little bit, just because it's the introduction of a relatively new character into the scene, and she's kind of playing vigilante on the opposite side of where Batman is. They're both doing the same thing for justice, however, she's doing it in a little bit more brutal and violent way. Titans number 6 ends the Return of Wally West story arc, so this is a chance to see Dan Abnett deal with the conclusion of the previous issue where Wally West has basically absorbed himself into the Speed Force again, and how does this man find his lightning rod, his grounding point to this new universe, after he'd been back for so short a time. This is going to be a pretty good one, so I'm really excited to see where this one goes. We also have Deathstroke number 9, which is starting a brand new story arc, and it looks like it's only going to be 2 issues, but it's going to tell the story of Slade Wilson and Wintergreen's first mission, so that's a pretty killer story to take a look at. Then we have All-Star Batman number 5, which is going to end the first story arc of All-Star Batman, and Scott Snyder's been telling a really cool story. There's been some great action sequences. The fact that everybody's kind of going after Batman all at once is a really kind of chaotic environment, and I'm really enjoying that. Also, Action Comics 970 continues, and this is going to be the trial of Lex Luthor, as is indicated on the cover, but really he's being tried for things that he hasn't really committed yet, so that's going to be pretty interesting, too, to see how Superman really reacts to that. Wonder Woman number 13 is a interesting little one-shot, which is going to be Between the Truth and the Lies, and that's going to be kind of a transition piece between what was the previous story arc, The Lies, and the story arc coming after this, The Truth, and how Diana's really going to be dealing with, as well as how Steve is going to be dealing with this, too. Detective Comics 947 finishes up the Victim Syndicate arc, and when we saw the last time, spoiler alert, in multiple ways, we saw Spoiler come in and kind of side with the Victim Syndicate, it looked like. Is that all a misdirection from James Tynion IV? We're going to find out in this issue. And to finish things off, over at DC, we have Justice League vs. Suicide Squad number 2. You might be saying, holy crap, didn't just the first issue come out? Yeah, this is going to be a weekly bad boy, so that's going to carry on from this week all the way through the rest of January as this crossover event continues. Then we'll take a look at more from Marvel, and we have Carnage number 15, which is getting super close to the end of this story. It's a really underrated book written by Gerry Conway, and we've seen that Carnage has actually resurrected a dark god Chthon using the Darkhold. And if that sounds absolutely ridiculous and a little bit gothic, it totally is, and it's super fun. Highly recommended. However, a book that's not necessarily highly recommended is Prowler number 3, and it's getting to the point where I'm not necessarily even going to be picking up these Clone Conspiracy tie-ins because they don't offer really any kind of benefit for me, and they're not something that I'm really looking for. We also have Sorcerer Supreme number 3, another Doctor Strange book by Robbie Thompson, and this one, I'm having trouble recalling what was going on in last issue, which probably lends itself to me that it's not really making an impact on me quite the way that, say, something like Black Panther number 9 is. Because in Black Panther number 8, we saw the resurrection of Shuri, and that was a really pinnacle kind of moment, and this is going to be that final stretch. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are going to wrap up Ta-Nehisi Coates' arc on Black Panther, and I'm really expecting great things to finish this out. Then we have Steve Rogers' Captain America number 8, and instead of kind of dealing with the aftermath of Civil War II, I'm glad they bounced right back into the Captain Hydra saga, and I'm really excited to see where this one goes. Another book I'm really excited about, though, is Infamous Iron Man number 3, because last time we saw this, Basically, Victor Von Doom was shot and Ben Grimm was about to come smashing through the door of his not quite girlfriend's apartment, and that looks badass. Another follow-up for a book that I really enjoyed is Spider-Man number 11, and I really enjoyed the kind of emotional sense that came down in Spider-Man number 10 with Miles retelling the story of Civil War II. I wish it wasn't part of Civil War II, and you could interchange pretty much anybody into that, but what we get is we get an emotional connection between Miles Morales and now his dad in Spider-Man number 11 as we learn his dad's secret backstory. Then in Mighty Thor number 14, we get the conclusion of this little two-part arc, which is really this, Legion of Realms or League of Realms kind of trying to rescue the princess of Alfheim and see how it leads into the Shi'ar Asgard War, which is going to be taking place next issue. So a lot of stuff's going to happen in this one, and I'm really excited to see what Jason Aaron does with that. Now, we'll get to Civil War II number 8, which is the final issue in Civil War II. Yay! It's coming out this week. We'll see what it's like when it gets here. But on a brighter note, let's go to Matthew Rosenberg's Rocket Raccoon number 1. I'm really excited to see what Rocket Raccoon does. I'm really excited for Matthew Rosenberg. I really enjoyed his arc on Kingpin. Some people might not necessarily like the art that was associated with that. It's a little bit scratchy, a little bit dirty, but I really like his writing of a kind of, down on his luck criminal type or really aggressive, kind of violent crime figure. So Rocket Raccoon's take is going to be pretty interesting because he's a pretty callous individual. I really like his attitude, and I'm really hoping that Matthew Rosenberg can bring a really good voice to this. We also have Hulk number 1 by Mariko Tamaki, and this is going to show Jennifer Walters in the aftermath of Civil War II, how she's kind of dealing with the loss of Bruce Banner, and no longer wanting to necessarily be the Hulk persona, because she's been the Hulk for so long and in control for so long. What happens when she goes out of control? It's a pretty standard kind of concept, but I'm really excited to see what kind of twist we can put on that and how it helps develop Jennifer as a character again. To finish things off, I just want to talk about one more book, and that is IDW and DC's partnership for Love is Love. So this is a charity book that has been contributed to by tons of great authors. Part of this book's proceeds go to the victims of the Orlando shooting, which happened earlier this year, and it's definitely something that's worthwhile. If it's a cause that you want to support, there's a lot of great art, a lot of great writing, and a lot of great story in here to help support those victims. It's definitely one that I want to make you guys aware of, and if you want to support it, it's definitely a book to buy. So those are the books that I'm picking up this Wednesday, but I want to know what you guys are grabbing too, so hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start talking about the other ones that I might want to go grab. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.